Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Terry from terryscraftroom.com. Today we're going to use the Flowering Rain Boots stamp set to make this adorable card. We're using some retired items today just to show that, you know, if you've got it in your stash, go ahead and use it. So we're going to use, you all recognize this. This is the Marvelous, Simply Marvelous paper from our last celebration catalog. So we're going to use this. We are going to use some of this rainbow paper from the last celebration catalog. But, you know, use what's in your stash. So let's get started. We need, the card base is So Saffron cardstock. It is your typical 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. So we'll set that aside. Then we need a piece of basic white cardstock that is 5 1/4 by 4. We're going to run that through with our gingham embossing folder. Okay, and here's one that I already ran through. Okay, and then we're going to actually use this piece of Simply Marvelous to stamp on. So we're going to stamp our boots on that. Let me get a Stampin' Pierce pad underneath it. Get my boots. We're going to use polished pink. And we're going to stamp our boots on that. You can see the background swirl here in the boots. It just gives it a little bit more texture underneath the stamping. Of course, if you do not have the Marvelous paper, stamp it on basic white. That works too. So I have here one that I've already cut out. Then I'm going to take this Bermuda Bay piece and I'm going to punch a cloud out with our cloud punch. I want this to go this way, I believe. Okay. And that is going to serve as our puddle under the rain boots. The rain boots are going to sit on this for a puddle. Just like that. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so I feel scattered today. So I took some of this Designer Series paper and I cut 1-inch strips. So I need a 1-inch strip here, and then I have a 3-inch piece. The 3-inch piece, if you hang around to the end, I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in my envelope. So don't click off too soon. So this piece I'm going to attach to the very edge of my basic white paper, cardstock. And you could do, if you want it, if you want the brighter side, certainly put whichever side you prefer facing up. I'm going to try the polka dot side this time. Okay. And then you need a couple pieces of scrap basic white to stamp your flowers on. So I'm going to use Garden Green for the leaves. Right there. And then for the flowers, the tulips, here's my tulips. I'm going to use Mango Melody to start with. And before I stamp that down, I'm going to get some Calypso Coral and I'm going to put some on a sponge dauber, and then I'm going to daub just the bottom parts of my tulips. And now when I stamp that down, I'm going to have a variegated tulip there. See that? Isn't that fun? Okay, so then I'm going to go cut these out with the dies that come with the rain boot dies. And I happen to have some cut out right here. So now we've got all the pieces we need except our sentiment, and we're going to use the Rain or Shine, I'm Here For You. Mount that, and that we're going to do in Bermuda Bay. Just right on this piece of scrap basic white here. And I'm going to use this retired punch because it's perfect size. Okay. There's all our bits and pieces. So now we can start building on our card front here. So I'm going to kind of build it, or just kind of lay things out here, because I don't want my tulips to be too high or too low. So you kind of want to make sure everything's going to be where it needs to be. And then once you see where everything needs to be, then you can start setting things down. So I'm going to start with setting my puddle down. And I don't need this anymore. And then I want to pop these with some dimensionals. There we go. I'm going to add some dimensionals on the top part of this, and then I'm going to put some glue down here at the bottom, because I'm going to glue these to the front of, or the tops of the boots. Like so. And then these are going to do the same thing right here onto our stems. So I'm going to put the dimensionals towards the tops of the flowers. And then I'm going to put a few drops of glue onto the stems here, so that the flowers can adhere to them. Just like that. Okay, now I need a piece of ribbon and some tape. And a lot of times if I'm just going to wrap the ribbon around, I don't measure, but if you want to know how much I have about 7.5 inches of ribbon here, so that I have a good amount, and that's probably a little bit too much, but it's a good amount to go around the back. And use a little bit of Scotch tape here. Okay, and then I'm going to take this other piece and I'm just going to tie a knot, or a half knot, and then trim it off. Just like that. Okay, and then we want our sentiment, and I'm going to have it hanging off my boot. Just like that. So I want a dimensional over here and then glue on this side. And we can find our card base again and just lay this onto our card base. If you're going to use liquid glue on something that you have embossed, dry embossed like this, you want to make sure you get a lot on here because you want it to go onto all those raised surfaces. Okay, so here's our card. Just like that. I rather like those polka dots. And here's another card. Now, I told you at the end I would show you what I was going to do with this 3-inch piece. I'm going to put it on the flap of my envelope. So here's the gummed side, so it's the outside flap. I'm going to take some Stampin' Seal Plus and just go around the flap. And don't worry if you got off the edge because it's not a big deal. And I'm going to just put this right up to the score line here and make sure it's pressed down nice and even. And then I'm going to take my scissors and cut around it. And then you have a matching envelope for the card that you just made. Just like that. And you can send that in the mail. I hope you've enjoyed today's projects. If you are in need of any product today and you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, please feel free to use me as your demonstrator. You can go over to terryscraftroom.com and click on the shopping button and you can shop with me anytime. You can also download a catalog there and sign up for my newsletter. If you like these projects, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, if you missed any dimensions, head on over to terryscraftroom.com. There will be a direct link below in the description box to this blog, and so that you can get all the dimensions, cutting dimensions, and a supplies list of any current catalog items that you may want to buy. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Bye!